Welcome to the Copy Closer podcast. Today I've got Robert Walsh, who's an amazing copywriter, good friend of mine. We were just talking about how we haven't seen each other in a few years, and I'm excited to interview him today, and I'll tell you why. You see, when I was meeting or I hung out with Robert before, he had a lot of skill as a copywriter, but he was in a place where he just didn't have enough clients, and now he's working with all the big dogs, Grant Cardone, Patrick Bet-David, all the top guys right now work with Robert Walsh, and I'm just like super pumped to have him on here because I want to know how the heck he did it. And today we're going to figure all that stuff out. So Robert, dude, thank you so much for coming on, man.
I mean, I have to be here, right? I mean, I have to say, I have to give you credit for being the reason that I actually like went full force into copywriting. Because when we were just talking about, I've been in e-com since like 2013, 2014. I always did my own copy on our own stores and stuff, but I didn't really know what copywriting was at that time, right? It was just like, hey, something needs to be written for this ad. Okay, I guess I'll do it. I'm the creative on the team, right? But yeah, man, when we were in Arizona doing those masterminds together, I was brought in to help with like content, like video content and stuff. For the pages and stuff like that. And I wasn't really copywriting at that point. I know I had like taken a step back from e-commerce for like a year at that point and was trying to figure out where I wanted to go. And then you had me help with some, I think email like subject headlines at first or something. You're like, oh, this is pretty good. And then like you had me help with like more copy, centered things. You're like, dude, this is like, you're good at this. Like,
yeah,
like,
you made my job easy, dude, because you were doing all the good stuff. I was like, this guy's really good.
Yeah, and you're like, why don't you do this? I'm like, I don't know, why the fuck don't I do this? And then I had my buddy Matt Schmidt, who has a bunch of successful e-com stores and a SaaS company and stuff. Heard that I was doing some more copywriting for things, and he wanted some help with some creative stuff because I was kind of like early print on demand people. There's like a very small group of us, like Adrian Morrison, Matt Schmidt, the whole group, myself. Started out together, so we kind of knew where everybody kind of excelled. Like my partner at the time was like great at ads, and I was good at like creative stuff, like coming up with our shirt designs and shit like that. So he asked for some help with that stuff, and I wrote some copy for him. And I think that was my first like paying copy gig, was like helping him with some product descriptions or something.
How long ago was that? Do you know?
2017, I think.
2017, yeah. And then okay, and so. Let's actually start when you move, because I'm thinking this happened when you like moved to Florida or something. I don't know, but I just remember this, like you moved to Florida from, I think, Illinois, right? I'm not sure. And then it just seemed like you just blew up. Everyone started hiring you, everyone. And it's like, I'm like, holy shit, this guy blew up. I got to get him on here. And so, and I know it, from what you told me, you're like, it's not hard. I just met some people. And I'm like, not many people go from like, sure, some people know me to now everybody and all the biggest dogs are hiring me. So I'd like to get an idea of what it was that got you to kind of level up like that. What was it?
Dude, I just have to say, I don't really do any outbound marketing for myself. Like I have like just a little bit of, I'll put like copy punks or something like that. Just like, visually, engaging that has to do with copy and stuff like that. But like I've never really run ads or done any promotions for myself. It's as stupid as it sounds, or not stupid, but like as simple as it sounds is I just fucking do good work for the people that I work with. Right. So, and that word gets around. I think all of my clients have been like either someone hearing about me or a referral. The Grant Cardone thing actually happened. John Foltz, actually, we were talking about him. You just talked to him recently.
Yeah, I just interviewed Jonathan Foltz.
Yeah, he actually had his Pitch Investors event in Tampa. At the time, I knew a friend of a friend was the marketing director for Grant Cardone at the time. I'd only met him like one time. But when I went down there to work on Jonathan Foltz event that Kevin Harrington was working for, so that was like my first, like, oh, I did some work for Kevin Harrington. Bert Ullman was speaking at that event. Grant Cardone was speaking at that event. So when I went down to Miami, I met with this friend of mine at the time who was working with Grant, and I stayed at his place. So when I got into town, he's like, and I was working on that event. He's like, yo, why don't you come into the office with me? And, you can just get some work done there while you're there. So I'm like, okay. And I met Grant at the event, but didn't really talk to him much. So at that point, I had just went from like e-com stores to like just word getting to John that I'm like a great copywriter or something like that. I wasn't even doing it that long. So I just said yes to the job. You know, I was doing like 6-7 figure ecom stores, and then, you know, like Shark Tank, right? And I'm like, sure, yeah, I can. Like, it's like, you ever done a live event? I'm like, fuck yeah. And I'm like, no, I hadn't at the time. You know, it was all ecom, other than the live events we were doing. You know, so I had a little bit of experience there. But then when I went to Cardone's office, I was sitting there just working, and, you know, I'm not the most conventional looking person. I'm sitting by his, you know, marketing director's desk at the time. He walks in, he kind of looks at me funny, just kind of waved. He's like, "What's up?" And he walks by, walks back a couple more times, just kind of looks at me funny, like, "Who the fuck is this
Who
guy?"
is this guy?
And I hear earlier in the day, Jared Glenn had called me Hoops, because of my ears. Yeah, so I'm just sitting there working on my stuff. I think I was doing like some emails or something for some ecom store. I just hear Grant like yell from across the room. He's like, "Yo, Hoops!" And I'm like, so I look over. I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "You want to write an email?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, man. What do you got? What do you need?" He's like, "Oh, it's this offer. There's a call to action. You got 5 minutes." I'm like, "Bro, I don't even know. I just got here. I don't even know what the offer is." I'm like, "Give me 10 minutes." It's like, "You got 5." I'm like, 6. He's like, "You got 5." So my first interaction with Grant, right? And other than like shaking his hand real quick at the event, I'm just like giving him shit, you know. So I write it in like 4 minutes, you know, just type up like a quick you know, sales email. So this stuff is pretty straightforward. So I'm just like, all right, just straightforward stuff. And then he looks at it, he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty good, but this is how I do it." And then like pulled me over to his desk and like actually like sat there with me and like walked me through like revising my email the way he would do it. And then from that point, they gave me I think it was like a 4-month contract or something like that.
Grant did that though. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I'm curious. I don't know if you can say this without getting into some shit, but wouldn't you think that you're a better copywriter than Grant?
Well, here's the thing, man. And
he's like, here's how you did it. Now here's what I'm gonna rewrite the whole thing.
So I mean, nobody knows Grant's audience better than Grant. You know, I could say that I've done things that have you know, gotten better results sometimes than the stuff that they had done without me, and vice versa. But I could say it was definitely helpful to sit there and have him walk me through like what he's seen his audience respond good to. You know, we all have different writing styles. You know, when it comes to copywriting, let's talk. My theory is that our like personal experiences in our lives like kind of shapes our own particular writing style. So that's like what separates us. So the people that are just like reading these copywriting trainings and just kind of trying to just live their career off of templates only, like really aren't going to be able to like surpass anybody because there's no originality there, and like they don't really have time to develop their own style. So instead of doing exactly what Grant would want me to do, I would kind of take a little bit of him, a little bit of me, and mesh it in there and make it sound as close as possible as like he would say it. But that's the gist of it.
Yeah, so you're in Grant's office, you're meeting Grant, obviously that's got to be cool. Now I know that you also were doing, was it stuff with Frank Kern? Because I know Frank and him were doing stuff at one time. So how did you guys connect there?
Yeah, so just lucky, dude. So I don't get starstruck. I just don't. I never have. You know, I've been around a lot of. I don't want.
I mean, I can tell when you're giving Grant some shit.
I've been around people. You know, like I don't know. I'm just kind of like a right place, right time kind of person. I feel like. Maybe it's just because I say yes to everything, right? So long as
that's because you put yourself in the right position. A lot of people don't put themselves in the right position. You have to remember, you went from Illinois to Florida. You went to the office, Grant's office. There's some copywriters that'll be like, "I'm not going to an office, dude."
Yeah.
Not happen. And so there's a lot of stuff that you did right by saying yes and by putting yourself in that situation where now these opportunities are coming. But it's because you did that right stuff by saying yes and getting yourself in the right situation.
That's true. But the Frank Kern thing anyway, the only time I was ever starstruck, because like I got into ecom like 2013, but like my entry to like digital marketing, I think I was watching like a Tony Robbins, Frank Kern video on YouTube. They were talking about like the first $1 million day ever made on the internet. I forget the guy's name who did it, but it was like those two and then the guy that did it.
Andy Jenkins, maybe.
Maybe I might be. I wish I could remember his names. I'd love to give him credit, but so I was watching that, and then it just kind of went down a rabbit hole of Frank Kern for like years, you know, before I really even got into marketing like full time. Then I took some time off and went back to welding. You know, had a girlfriend at the time that was like, "Get a real job." And I'm like, all right, whatever. So you know, it set me back a few years, but whatever. But yeah, man. So Frank, that's just by chance, and that's what I said, right place, right time. Frank Kern and and they had Cardone Kern going on, their marketing agency at that time. So I just like sitting there working on Grant shit. I was there for a week, and all this happened in a week, from Harrington to Cardone to Kern, all within like 5 days being in this office.
Wow.
So I just hear I'm working, and I just hear Frank Kern in the house, and I'm just like immediately felt like adrenaline. I'm like, what the fuck? And he walks in, and this is like I'll never fucking forgive myself for this, or like live this down in my head. Is like he walks up and he's like, hey, what you working on? Because someone told him I was a new copywriter, and go figure, it was like a like an automated email, like congratulations, like, you know, download your ebook here or whatever, like no effort, like no swag in that email at all. And he was super nice and tried to like, oh, this looks cool, man. I'm just like, dude, no, like get out of here, dude. Like come back in like 10 minutes when I'm working on a like sales email or something. But no, he was rad. I think I got on his nerves a little bit because I was a little starstruck and just tried to like hang out with him as much as possible when he was in the office. But he was super nice.
Okay, so you're hanging out with these guys, you're putting yourself in the right position, and then so like, did you end up meeting a lot of these guys because of Grant? Like, was that kind of like in his office?
Kern, yeah. I think that's the only person I really met. That's like notable to talk about through Grant. I only worked in the office for like a week, or maybe like 2 weeks, a week and a half, something like that. And then I just worked remote from Illinois. And
wow.
Between the two for him.
So what happened after that? I mean, you're starting to work with Grant, you're getting these clients, and then you're in Illinois, I guess, still, you're saying, right? So
yeah.
But then eventually you moved to Florida. So like, let's talk about that journey.
Yeah. So when I into ecom, you know, in the earlier years, back in my day, 2014, 15, I had moved to Tampa for like a year and a half to start just open a warehouse and shit like that with like a partner at the time. Moved down here and made a lot of friends in like Tampa and St. Pete area. So I had moved back to Chicago after that to handle some shit and just work on another ecom thing, just back and forth between ecom and copywriting and shit for a couple of years. And then oh fuck, what happened? Yeah, so I worked with Grant for about 4 months. They basically brought me in to help with 10X GrowthCon and the following boot camp right after it, which was dope because they gave me tickets to the boot camp while I was there. I just happened to be there that weekend.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that was sick. Just right time, dude. Just a cool week. But so that dried up, and then like word got around that I was, you know, right for Grant, and I was doing stuff like that, and I had more people reach out to me and more jobs, and like that year. So it's like a year where I didn't really hear from them after the contract was up because, you know, GrowthCon was over with. But at that point I had everyone reach out to me because at that oh, that's a detail I forgot. So at the Pitch Investors Live event with Kevin Harrington and Grant, Bert Ullman was there. I met him. He has like they call him like the $6 billion man. He like holds the record for the most profitable e-commerce launch that he did with like Jennifer Lopez and Target. Wow. He was one of the speakers there. I remember I'm leaving the event. So while I was there, it was just basically like a, hey, how you doing handshake for all these people, right? But while I hold the elevator for this older woman and her son, and we're going down the elevator just talking and stuff, and I'm waiting for my friends to come down that were at the event with me, the guy I was staying with and another friend that was in the area, and sitting outside helping her with the bags and stuff because I'm just a nice dude. She's an older woman. And we're talking, she's like, oh, waiting on my husband. And then her husband gets down, is Bert Ullman. So then we're like, we're going to sit there and like we were thinking about getting lunch and stuff. And then they're like, no, okay, never mind. We're just going to take off. But we exchanged numbers. This woman's name Elle, and her and I became really good friends. She's like partnered with like Roseanne Barr and like her own A-list, you know, clients. You know, she's got her own marketing agency, but she's more so in music. Like scouting people and getting them set up and stuff like that. So she put me in touch with some like Grammy winning producer friends of hers that like won Grammys with like Ludacris and T-Pain. So I did some work for them on their software they were launching and shit. So that was dope. And then she would introduce me to more people, and then word just got around, dude. Like, and I just do good work for people. I guess. I'm
curious, do you offer referral fees?
Yeah, man. I mean, if I so I try to keep you mean for just anybody that brings people to me?
Yeah, like a lot of these people that were referring, did you ever set up like a referral relationship with them?
No.
They were just referring work to you because you were good.
Yeah. And I've offered like in certain scenarios when it like called for it, you know, but like if someone's just like, hey, that my friend needs work done, I
Yeah.
figured copywriter here. So I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. But yeah, man, people just come to me with jobs, dude. I don't know.
Well, it's not that they come to you, but that's what it's interesting, because it's, again, putting yourself in the right position, meeting the right people, and then just capitalizing on it. But you're also a cool guy, which has like some benefits, because even when we've hung out in the past, like, you're never a pushy guy. You're not a salesy, like trying to shove your shit down someone's throat. You're just a cool person to want to be around. And I think that's one of the things, I don't, maybe it was like just a thing you did, you didn't realize, but I think just meeting these people in person and becoming like their friend first is a really good way of growing your business, because when someone is going to recommend someone else, they usually want to recommend their friends. So if you're friends with people who are very influential, then their recommendations are going to carry a lot of weight. It's going to get you paid easier. So I think a lot of people, and it's something that you did way better than I did, but one of the things that I was doing in the past, I'll still do it today, is whenever someone would hire me on a retainer basis for whatever it was, like Ryan Stewman did this. He was paying me $3,000 a month years ago to like write emails and stuff for him. Sure. And so what I did is Tiffany and I just flew down to Dallas, hung out with him, met him, and just became his friend. And he was able to refer me tons of work just from doing that, because I went and met him in person and he introduced me to a lot of his people. Doesn't necessarily mean you've got to meet people in person to get these referrals, but I definitely think that it like solidifies a relationship. It makes it more real. And I always see you on Facebook as well, and you're always around all these really influential marketers. Like, there's 7-figure, 8-figure guys in your circle, and probably more. But that's something that I've noticed. You, as long as I've known you, you've always been around like the movers and the shakers, and I've got to believe that's got to be some kind of credit to your success.
Yeah, and I could definitely have to say it's unintentional. I don't like, I'm definitely not like going around trying to like meet, like I said, I think that's why I got on Freight Kern's nerves, because I was actually, the first time in my life, I was trying to be like closer to somebody to like gain their energy, give me your copywriting fucking magic, bro. But no, I've talked to him since. He's fine, but I leave him alone now. So I'm pretty sure I got him. But.
So what are you working on now, man? What are some of what's the stuff for the future now? Is it more copywriting, some other stuff? What's going on?
So, I mean, I'm working on a few things right now. I'm actually working, I don't know if I can say all the names, but through a connection, an agency that I'm doing work for, I'm writing emails right now for like JP Sears, Donald Trump Jr., the Hodge twins, a bunch of people right now, which is dope, because it's not an end goal for me, but like I've had like this vision of like writing a presidential speech, and I'm just like inadvertently like kind of getting up there, right? It seems like I'm going like more the conservative route, like inadvertently.
That's so
maybe
cool.
It's just like manifesting, if you're into that shit, maybe, I don't know. But and that was just like a friend that I made in the past and hadn't done any work for each other, and just kind of became friends. And then it just like at the end of the conversation, we're like, yo, if you ever need anything, let me know. And they're like, yeah, likewise. And then like a year later, they hit me up with an opportunity. It's just kind of like how it is, just like becoming friends with these people. I'm not like looking like, oh, this guy looks like he'll be beneficial to me. It's just the people that I connect with just happen to be, the like-minded people that are doing cool shit with cool people, Yeah.
Well, you're meeting all the right people, you're seizing opportunities, and you're putting yourself in a position to win, whether you know it or not. I think some people are unconscious about all these successful things that they're doing, and I think you may be one of them. You just have like this natural thing where you're doing all the right stuff, but it's just who you are. You're not trying to, let me just go be friends with people or market with them. I'm just not that good. That's why I'm like, I really like your story, because it's so natural. You're just being yourself, but you're actually, just by being yourself, you're implementing a lot of like good business building techniques, like networking with people, growing that friendship, getting referrals, and you're doing a lot of cool stuff. So that's why I wanted to bring you on here, because I think there's a lot of people who get value from this, because you don't, like you said, you don't spend money on ads to grow your business, yet you have a very successful copywriting business, right? So it's very cool. And I'm happy you were able to come on here and share some of that stuff, man. If people wanted to like hire you or get connected with you, maybe get coaching from you or something, where can people get a hold of you?
Facebook's the easiest, man. Like my Instagram is just like me cruising around with on the one wheel and hanging out with my girlfriend for the most part, but like any
best lifestyle, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Facebook's really the place. Just Robert Walsh. You can hit me up if they're a friend of yours. They'll see me on there. Uh,
Awesome.
yeah, that's pretty much it, dude. Other than that, I don't know. I've been thinking about. I don't know. I think you've given me shit about this too. I've been thinking about putting out a course. So I kind of test the waters, did like some email templates and video breakdowns to kind of proof of concept, and it worked. Just like a bunch of organic sales on it. So I'm like, okay, so if I ran traffic after this, it probably worked pretty well. But I don't know. I make an excuses saying I'm too busy to do it. But I like to put out like an email writing course, not an email marketing course, but like an email writing course. And then like a full-on copywriting course. And I'm finishing my book right now, finally.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a name for the book yet?
Yeah, it's the the Lazy Copywriter's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, I love it.
It's basically all about my unconventional approach to copywriting. Kind of my laid back. Laziness is intelligent, or efficiency. Sorry, efficiency is intelligent laziness. Essentially, is the approach of the book. Like doing not so much doing the bare minimum to avoid work, but doing the bare minimum to get the job done and like kind of streamline the process.
Yeah. The lazy people are the ones who create all the best systems sometimes because you don't want to do anything.
Yeah, man. Most people are trying to add on a bunch of new apps and shit to make it, the process smaller and like easier. I'm like, well, no. I literally just sent people fucking a public link to a Google Doc when I deliver, when I deliver fucking shit to them. Like anybody could get that,
When do you think your book is going to come out?
So I have a goal to self-publish this year. Actually, with the process you shared with me like a fucking year and a half ago about self-processing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, make sure you connect with Robert, hire him for some copy, get him for some coaching, get that book whenever it comes out, and buy his course because this guy is a winner and he knows how to write really fucking good converting copy. Thanks, and man. He knows how to get clients. So, dude, thank you so much for coming on this show, man. It was awesome to have you.
Thanks for having me, dude. It's been great to catch up. Love seeing you and the family like growing and just like doing cool shit, dude. Like I said, I haven't seen you and Tiff and crazy. It's been like 5 years.
It's been a minute. Well, we'll have to link up. Whether you come here or I go there, we'll definitely have to link up, man.
It's hot both places. We'll make it happen.
All right, man. Thank you so much. And everybody, make sure you hit up Robert Walsh and connect with him.
Thanks, man.